Hi everyone, so today I'm here to talk about this foundation from Tirtir. It's, again, I did a video on the full size of 13N Fair Ivory, and today I have 10C, which is the lightest shade that they worked with somebody that has albinism. They worked with her developing the shade, and I thought that undertone is not going to fit me, but the lightness maybe not. So I figured why not get it in the mini size when I could get it at a good price and put it on my face and see how it is, because the 13N is a little bit dark for me, kind of on the dark side of things that I'll wear. I do prefer something kind of in between these shades, so not quite as light as this, not quite as dark as that. I prefer to wear light to medium coverage. I don't want to cover my freckles. I'm 44 years old, so I have some, skin that is a little bit looser. I've got lines, more visible pores, wrinkles, whatever. So I'm looking for something that isn't going to kind of settle into those creases a lot and that isn't going to catch on a bunch of dry flakes, because I definitely have those dry flakes as well. And that isn't going to sit in my pores weirdly. Let's look at some comparison swatches to see how it looks compared to other things in my collection. I don't usually let them sit this long, but I had some issues, so I had to keep it on longer than I normally would. This is the Tirtir in 13N and 10C. The two things that I found that I think are closest, I don't wear this shade in undertone, obviously, because it's not my shade in undertone, so I generally go towards more yellow tone things, but I wanted to show you some things, a couple things that I thought were really similar. And the first one is the KBD Good Apple is in light 002. So that's really kind of a little bit pink, a little bit gray almost. So it's a little less pink, I think, than the Tirtir, but the depth I think is really similar. And same for this one. I kind of realized last minute, so I stuck it at the bottom. It's the Dior Forever Skin Glow, and this shade is in 00, not 000. And I think both of those are similar. So if those kinds of shades work for you, I think this one might work for you if it's not too pink. So other things that are pale in my collection but tend towards more of that yellow undertone. This is the Estee Lauder Double Wear in 0N1 Alabaster. Next to it is the palest Lancome Teint Idole Ultra shade that they offered. I don't know if they still make it. 85N. My preferred shade in that formula is 95W, which is much more yellow toned and darker. This is the, I wanted to get drugstore in here, but there aren't a lot of super pale drugstore options. So, and all the ones I have are generally kind of yellow toned. So this one is the JCat Skin Insurance. And this shade is Porcelain, very, very pale. I have videos on all these things. The next one is the MAC Studio Fix in NC5, and this is the new NC5, this one right here. Old NC5 was darker than NC10, but now it's paler. And yellow undertone. This is a good shade match for me if I'm looking to wear something quite pale. And last on here was, I went digging around because I thought this might have more of a pink undertone. This is the Vanish Seamless Finish Hourglass foundation, and this is in Blanc. I could not get that formula to work for me to save my life. I pretty sure I showed it in a video. It just did not work on my skin at all. So anyway, there you go. So you can see from the swatches, it is definitely more pink toned than pretty much anything I have that is that pale that I could find in my collection. I have a ton of stuff. I tend to not buy things that are more overtly pink toned though, so a lot of the really pale options I have are more kind of neutral to yellow, because that is my face, more neutral to yellow. It's totally wearable. I think ideally I would like kind of something that's a little bit of a mix of, like, 20% of the 13N Fair Ivory and the rest, 80% of the other shade, just to like give it a little bit of warmth and make it a tiny bit darker. I've kind of come around on this formula. I like it better than I did the first few times I wore it. A lot of that I feel like is how I apply it, because my skin just doesn't wear foundation very well. I don't wear a lot of coverage very well. It tends to look really heavy on my face. And so I think blending it, getting it on with the little cushion sponge and then kind of blending it when I need to with a damp beauty blender really kind of gives me the best of both worlds. And the other thing I saw was to press it in here, which will like distribute it a little better and maybe keep it from putting so much product on at once. And I am pressing. Someone left a comment about that on the other video. It's just, I tend to speed up the footage a lot because I'm very slow. And so it kind of looked like I was dragging, but I was pressing. So I do think this warms up a little as it sets down, which most foundation does. Gets a tiny bit darker as it sets, which is just kind of like the normal process. It's because when I put it on with just the beauty blender, I feel like sometimes it looks a little sheer and I feel like I can't get the coverage quite to work the way I want it. So it's like I get a little bit more coverage than I want on to begin with that cushion sponge, and then I can kind of sheer it out a tiny bit by going over it with the beauty blender. And so you can see that in the demo that's what I ended up doing. I mean, if you are curious about the other makeup that's on my face, namely like what's going on in my eyes and my lips, I am going to upload a video about that. This is stuff that I picked up because of TikTok, which the Tirtir Cushion Foundation also falls under that category. So I will put the details of that stuff below, but I will also have a video putting that stuff on my face because it's just a bunch of fun stuff, I think. So I think that's about it. There isn't a whole lot to say because I have reviewed this foundation before. I do like it a little bit better. It definitely, I need to prep my skin properly. Got to figure out the right powder to wear with it and make sure I'm not getting too much coverage, too much product on my face, because me and that foundation just don't mix very well. When you first open it, the fragrance is quite pungent. And I have found that after it's been opened and closed a few times, it seems to have dissipated a little. So I don't really notice the fragrance like I did the first couple times I wore it, where it felt like I could smell it on my face. Let me know if you've tried this out, if you've found a shade that works for you, if you have tried the 10C shade, what you think of the formula, all that good stuff. I hope you're having a great day. Let me know if you have any questions below, and I'll see you soon.